What is up, everybody? My name is Anthony, and for today's video, we are back on the Rose Talks channel. Now, as you can see by the title, we are going to be talking about why I started doing drugs, and then maybe in another video, I'll talk about what made me want to stop doing substances and all that type of stuff. So without further ado, this entire drug story starts off, I think, when I was like 12 or 13. I had a pretty big brain for a child. I feel like I picked up on a lot of stuff. Like, I could tell when my parents were on drugs and doing stuff that I, didn't totally understand, but like, I could tell that they weren't acting right a lot of the time, and it was weird, and I would always smell something from the garage. Like, I didn't know what it was, but like, I could smell it. Like, I knew when my parents drank because I could smell it on their breath and they'd act different. There would be this weird smell from the garage, and I knew that they were doing something weird, but I couldn't put like my finger on what it was. Like, I couldn't conceptualize it because I had never seen it. I didn't know what it was. And yeah, and of course at the time I'm like almost out of elementary school, so I have friends who have older brothers that are smoking and doing stuff, but I hadn't necessarily been super around it and seeing it happen, so I didn't know that the smell was weed. But I ended up making a friend who knew what that smell was and had weed on him, had cigarettes, had a bunch of stuff, and so I started doing it. Now, I think I actually might have been 11 at this time. I remember I was like 10, smoking cigarettes. There was a girl that lived like 2 or 3 houses down from me. I think it was 2 houses down. And she would just like give me cigarettes, and the kids in my neighborhood would like make me almost eat them and stuff. Like, it was not great. I actually am pretty sure got addicted to cigarettes at the age of like 11. And I would go to school like jittery and shaky after like a couple hours of not having them. It was really bad. And the teachers thought it was anxiety. But there was these high school kids in my neighborhood that were just feeding me cigarettes like it was nothing. And then, of course, I get used to smoking them. I think I'm like kind of cool for it. I'm getting attention from these older kids. And then all of a sudden I start smoking weed. Now, smoking weed as like a 12 and 13-year-old is not normal. I just want to say that. If you can relate to that, then you know it's probably not normal if you're older now. I'm sure some of you have completely stopped doing stuff like that. I know for me, when I was like in high school and stuff, it was like kind of hard to quit because I was so used to it, and it made me feel like more normal because, again, I was used to it. But yeah, so anyways, I'm like 12, 13, smoking weed. I'm starting to drink. And life is kind of weird, man. Like, I felt like I was doing a lot of stuff because it was just like a cool thing at the time. Did I feel cool doing it? Kind of. I'm not going to lie. Like, people were like, oh my gosh, like I go to school. Oh, Anthony did this. And did you hear Anthony did this? And it was like, Anthony's a druggie. But I wasn't. Did I? Whoa. I thought I was on last. Why have I been going for trick shots? I just hit a boat bang. That's insane. Like, that's actually crazy. Anyways, I'm doing these drugs. I'm drinking. I'm really young. I think I'm cool. And then all of a sudden, I become reliant on it. There are a lot of mental issues I was having, a lot of physical issues I was having when I was 12, 13, 14 that I didn't really have answers to. I would get called a hypochondriac by people close to me when I was younger, and no one really realized it was anxiety until I was actually like an adult. And so whenever I would like smoke or do something, I would feel normal, and people wouldn't complain about me saying stuff about me not feeling good and whatever else. And when you're no longer letting people down, you kind of just stick to doing whatever you're doing that's like making people kind of feel normal about you. And obviously for me, that was smoking weed because I was chilling, dude. I wasn't being dramatic. I wasn't doing anything like crazy like how I used to do. Like, I would be like, Mom, I think I'm dying, Mom, this, that, whatever. And then all of a sudden I start smoking weed and I'm like, life is good, dude. I have no worries. But the problem is becoming reliant on that stuff at such a young age, I don't feel like teaches you a lot of good things. Like, hey, I'm 13 years old. I'm barely in 7th grade and I'm like addicted to doing drugs. Obviously, people say, oh, you can't get addicted to weed, whatever. But trust me, if you are a weed smoker and you're a consistent weed smoker, it is very hard to stop. It legitimately feels like you're addicted, not necessarily chemically, which means you're not addicted, but you are so reliant that it is almost mirroring an addiction. So I have these problems. I don't have answers, but the one thing I do have is drugs, and they're making me feel better. So I keep doing them. My teachers start finding out. People start finding out. My mom's like finding out. All this weird stuff is happening, and I'm just like, dang, bro, life is really stressful. So what do I keep doing? The drugs. And when you live in a suburb with a lot of white kids, you're gonna find out that a lot of people have drugs that they shouldn't have. And if there's a supply, there's a demand, and I was the one that was demanding them, so I kept getting the drugs. Now, honestly, this is a really bad shot, I'm not gonna lie. This is, wow. Like, I saw him and I don't know. I almost apologized to the guy, but he left the game before I could say anything. So, I mean, do boat bang and another trick shot in the same game. I'm not mad. Okay, that's kind of cool. But yeah, so at this point in my life, there is a clear cycle of reliance on drugs. Like, if I'm going through something, if I'm stressed, I'm doing drugs. If I'm feeling bad physically, I'm doing drugs. And at this point, I think I'd only smoked cigarettes, drank a bunch of different types of alcohol, smoked weed, I might have done Xanax, like crushed pills and alcohol, which is stupid, dude. Don't do that stuff. It could literally kill you, by the way. Do not mix stuff if you're watching this video. Do not. And I think I might have done acid or LSD like one time. If you guys saw my video on the worst drug experience I've ever had, you would know that I think I was on a hallucinogenic drug instead of it just being weed, but I still truly don't know to this day. And yeah, when you're an impressionable kid and you have people around you doing drugs, you start to pick up those habits as well, especially if it's making you feel better and it feels accepted. You could literally have a cop look you in the eye and be like, this is illegal, but if people you trust are doing things around you, you're not going to care if it's illegal or not. You're just going to do it. You're going to feel better. You're going to feel wanted. There's a community of people who do them. People are like, nah, it's fine. It's not that bad. And then all of a sudden you're doing them and you're like, heck yeah. Now, I'm not going to lie. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this, especially when you apply what I'm saying to vaping and stuff. Like, vaping is not great. I think vaping is really, really bad for you. I just can't prove it yet, but I know it's not great. People talk about getting popcorn lung and everything like that from vaping, but really, dude, it's just like you are relying on a substance and these chemicals to make you feel better, or you're looking for something out of it. And like, I just don't like that. And yeah, so that's why I started doing drugs at such a young age. I mean, it's pretty crazy. I'm glad I'm away from all that stuff now, but dude, like, it was bad, man. I was definitely relying on it. I definitely thought I felt super cool. I definitely thought I had a community of people that like me, but really, like, when you're on drugs around people, you act a completely different way, unfortunately. And so you get used to people acting different ways. And then when you're around them not on drugs, you're like, man, we should do drugs. You want everything to go back to what feels like normal. And yeah, so if you are curious, I am completely sober now. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't do like anything. And there are definitely a lot of people out there who have done way more substances than me and at a higher volume. So yeah, it's, you know, to each their own. I just know if I have any children or like teens, or even if you're an adult watching this, I hope everybody watching can just find the strength to push through stuff without the need for any substances and feel comfortable doing it, because it's legitimately a superpower. Like, you don't have to spend money. You don't have to get used to your mind feeling different and worrying about people changing around you. You can just exist and be happy that you're existing naturally. I think it's pretty dope. But again, if you're not overdoing stuff, you're just trying it, whatever, probably not a terrible thing. You didn't hear that from me. Be super smart, test everything, and yeah, obviously something like weed is never gonna kill you, but just be careful. There are a lot of people that glorify drug use. People do it in movies. Everyone looks like they're having a good time, but that's scary. Okay, there is a lot of scary stuff that happens with drug use, and I'm lucky that I never got laced or anything, because I never tested any of my drugs when I was younger. No 12 to 14-year-old has drug kits that they're using. But I don't know, man. That was in like 2012, and we've come a long way. So maybe there are kids out there that have like drug kits for coke and stuff. I have no idea. Yeah, I'm done yapping. Please don't do drugs if you don't want to or have to, okay? I know some people get peer pressured into stuff and it feels like you have to do stuff. Regardless of if you're 12, 18, 42, like, if you don't want to do drugs, just don't do it. But anyways, let's hit a trick shot, because that is my new addiction, just smacking a shot every day. And yeah. That was sick. That was pretty cool. I don't know what I did. There's like 3 variations of the shot that I've been trying to go for, but this was cool. I get 2. And some guy was falling. That was sick. That's why I started doing drugs. Using drugs. Whatever the grammar is. Have a good one.